Super Rugby round number one. Chiefs, too good for my Blues. 25 points to 14 winners at Eden Park in the rain. Been a while since the Chiefs have tasted victory at Eden Park, but get their season off to a pretty good start. The Blues will not be too happy with the amount of penalties they conceded, and a bit of a, I don't want to say capitulation, but certainly well beaten, well dominated, especially up front by the Chiefs in that second half. We'll go through some of the key events and the stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts. It hasn't been raining all day in Auckland, but not long after kick-off, the rain did start to come down. Decent crowd there at Eden Park, which is pleasing to see. A rematch of last year's final, and the crowd were treated to some kind of defensive plays early. To be fair, the Chiefs handled the Blues trying to exert a bit of forward pressure early. Koi managed to win a good penalty to break down for the Chiefs to give them a bit of a relief from the early Blues pressure, but then it was all Chiefs. They kept putting the pressure on the Blues. D-Mac was looking dangerous, and he would end up finishing off a couple of tries for the Chiefs later on in the game, but the Blues just kept conceding penalties. And just when the Blues got themselves a yellow card warning is when the Chiefs decided to opt for a 3, which I thought at the time, maybe it's a little bit too conservative. Why not go for the jugular? If you keep tracking this way, the Blues are either going to concede a try or you end up getting them yellow carded. But no, they went with the kind of slightly more conservative approach, got themselves 3 points on the board. And the Blues were just making errors, like Caleb Clark knock on, cold, no pressure on him. Blues get timed out for a line-out throw taking too long. It was Riccatelli, so just a little bit rusty maybe. But the Chiefs, to be fair, were not punishing. They were getting turned over. They lost a line-out, so neither side really able to capitalise until the Blues got the first try of the game. Dalton Papali'i was the man who finished it off. And it was the Blues not opting for a 3. It was the Blues trying to, I guess, exert a bit of that kind of forward dominance. They went through some phases. They had an advantage. And then Papali'i was able to drive over. So 7 points to 3, Blues in front. Me as a Blues fan, pretty happy chappy. Things are looking all right. Xavier Rowe was giving the Blues a bit of a hard time at the back of some rucks, putting some hits on. But then it was the Chiefs who really started to get some flow. 13 phases, advantage again. But they ended up once again saying, penalty in front, let's opt for a 3-pointer. 7 points to 6 is a 1-point game. But then the Blues scored a hell of a try right before halftime. Turnover ball, I think it was Papali'i with the turnover. They quickly spin it wide. There's good hands from Talia with the line break. Lamb with the inside line. Nana Satura makes a hell of a covering tackle, but the momentum for Lamb takes him over. He's able to dot it down. So 14 points to 6 at halftime. The Blues have had less ball, 46%, less territory, 42%. They've conceded almost double the penalties, 7-4. And like the Chiefs have broken 16 tackles to 7, but the Blues are in front. So I can live with that as a Blues fan. But the Chiefs, because they dropped a bit of ball in the first half as well, would kind of clean that up a bit in the second half, and the forwards would really get going. Second half started a little bit inaccurate, a few knock-ons both ways. There was a kick dead, but then the Chiefs' best chance of the second half starts when the Blues concede a penalty. Chiefs go for touch, and then you get just so much pressure on, and then D-Mac with just a wee show and go. He goes between Rico, he goes between Caleb Clark. Boomfa at his try time. He kind of fluffed the conversion, but that's a good try. Now we're back to a really tight one, 14-11. The Blues, to their credit, did look to immediately hit back through Talia in the corner, but his try gets TMO. Ratima had the try saver on that one. It was a hell of a tight one, but I think the right call there. And then the Chiefs' just second half dominance really continues. Like that Talia one was more of a blip. It was more of an exception rather than the rule in the second half. They got a lot of attack, 10 plus phases. Blues go offside. The TMO has to come in to look at multiple things. Caleb Clark's been taken out in the air, but then there's been a high tackle from the Blues. So Fusi Tua ends up getting yellow carded. Can the Chiefs punish 14 men? Blues, well, Jacobson goes close. They get advantage. They opt for a scrum. They get advantage again as the scrum is really getting on top. They shift the ball left and the ball to this guy, Leroy Carter, out on the left wing. It's a nice finish. I think it was Nana Satura with the final pass. 18-14. Chiefs are in front. Will not relinquish the lead. I mean, they got a nice 50-22 from Ratima, although they kind of mucked up the line out, which wasn't straight, but the rain was really coming down. I think they had to stop the game for a streaker. The Cameras panned away, so I don't know if it was a streaker, but a pitch invader. But then D-Mac with the icing on the cake wins it for the Chiefs. Second try for him. More territorial pressure, more gaps appearing in the Blues defensive line, and D-Mac has got the gas to go through it. So 25 points to 14. To be fair, the Chiefs could have had more points. Possession finishes 58-42 and 63-37 in the second half. So Chiefs dominant second half. They finish with 56% territory. Defenders beaten is 31-11. Clean breaks is 7-2. Blues penalty count is 13-6. We're maybe lucky not to get more yellows. D-Mac alone, 76 metres, 10 defenders beaten, 3 clean breaks, 2 tries. Hell of a performance from that guy, whether he's at fullback or first receiver. Maybe first receiver looks a bit better. Leroy Carter, not a bad shift from that guy. On the wing, 7 defenders beaten. Suafoa makes 22 tackles for the Blues, but it's a losing effort. Patrick Tuipulotu kind of summed it up in the post-match on-field interview where he basically said, yeah, it was up front, especially in the rain where it cost the Blues. So not the ideal season start to my boys, but give it to the Chiefs. They started the season very, very well. Maybe vanquish a few demons from last year's final loss. The Chiefs will host the Crusaders in their next week game, which will be a fascinating one because those guys are always good value against each other. And the Blues will be down south to play the Highlanders. So we'll see if we're able to bounce back. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. Chiefs too good. I'll give you guys that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. More Super Rugby stuff coming your guys' way. Take care of yourselves and talk to you guys again soon. See you later.